Circus Caper, high adventure under the big top. And welcome to Nostalgia, a chronological exploration of every NES game released in North America. I'm Mike.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Joe.
Guys, ever been to a big circus? Emphasis on big there. You know, not like one of those like local carnivals that your church throws or something.
Well, define
but just like
big. Like I feel
Barnum
like
and Bailey.
I feel like you're trying to like gatekeep right now.
I am gatekeeping because there's like the circus, right? And then there's like the actual circus with, you know, someone's going to get shot out of a cannon. There's an elephant. There's probably a lion going through a hoop. Like that stuff I've never seen.
I mean, I've been to like a Ringling Brothers at some. I feel like, you know, that's like a big traveling circus.
That's a big circus. Did they do any of the things I mentioned there?
I don't know. It was like 5.
Can you get somebody who was there to maybe like eyewitness? Because I think
They're
like
on
that
the podcast right now. Call them up.
It will influence your vote. I feel like if we know if you've been to the big circus or not.
You'll be happy with your gatekeeping will be intact here because I don't think I've ever been to anything that I would call a circus. It was a big missed opportunity in my childhood.
I saw like trapezes and like hoops
At
of
the
fire.
circus or
Yeah.
just like for a gymnastics
On the way to
competition?
the
No,
circus.
it was at the Ringlings.
Got it. Oh yeah, sorry. The thing that you don't remember, but now
I have
suddenly, all of a
vague
sudden the
recollections.
details are just
Sean's
pouring
never
out.
been to
You
a
know how it
circus.
is.
He's just, he doesn't want to be gatekept.
I know how it is. Yeah. And you'll continue to give us little sprinkles
Yeah,
of information.
as it comes back to me throughout the episode.
Joe, you've never been to the big circus, but have you ever seen a big elephant, like in person?
I must have at a zoo or something, you know?
What kind of answer is that? Must have. What is wrong with you guys?
I
tonight
don't
in
remember
your
these things.
memories?
You think
Like,
I remember elephants? I don't remember anything. You know that.
an elephant?
I've got the
knows
memory of
something.
an elephant.
Yeah, the elephant has an unlimited amount of potential to remember things, and you have a apparently very limited amount.
We
I've
should
probably
just make
seen an
a
elephant.
zoo like where the animals already are.
Hey, whoa. This is my idea. Sean took my idea.
It's okay. I know that for a fact none of us have been to the big circus because one of the most common things to happen at anybody at the big circus is for their sister to be abducted by check my notes here, Mr. Magic, is that his name?
I don't like that. That's weird.
That is
weird-
very strange.
That is
It's
sort
funny
of
because-
the mantra of this game, or at least my mantra while I was playing this game.
I don't like
which
that.
is I don't like this. This is weird.
Yeah, and it's funny because half of all video games from the 80s and 90s are about a woman getting kidnapped, like usually a princess, or I think there's been other times where it's been like your sister. But something about this one, like every time, I'm like, this one's creepier. There's something creepy about this whole situation. Maybe
Yeah,
it's the clowns
I
or
was
Mr.
very
Magic.
disconcerted throughout the entirety of this game. Like this is an ominous game.
Yeah, and they're like, every time you get to someone, I mean, not to get way ahead of us, every time you get to someone that, like, you thought had your sister, it's like, no, so-and-so took her now. Like, yeah. It's like, what the heck? What is going on here? Why is everybody kidnapping this little child?
It's worth noting, though, too, in other video games where, like, a princess gets abducted, right? Like, that is a political conflict, right? Like, there's something going on where people are exchanging, tactical information or necessities to try to sway some kind of geopolitical power.
Yeah, like in Mario.
Yeah, exactly. Bowser wants something with the Mushroom Kingdom, right? It's not just like Princess Peach is specifically, like Donkey Kong is in the wrong for kidnapping Pauline more than Bowser's in the wrong for kidnapping Peach.
That's a hot take.
I think that's true. Though.
I get what you mean. Like
I
it's
get
a
what you mean
means
too,
to an
but-
end, whereas in this, it's very obviously just like evilness. Which
Child abduction. Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
But I mean, I guess to get real nitpicky, isn't it canon that Bowser just like is in love with Peach?
Yes.
Well, who knows?
No, it's actually it very recent.
I
years,
said
it's
who knows.
Shigeru Miyamoto?
Can we just all fight the whole podcast instead of talking about this game?
I thought that's what the podcast was.
I think what it is about, okay, sure, there's the child abduction, but it's also just like how, I don't know if it's just a poor translation or if it's like, if it was a David Lynch on purpose kind of thing, but like just the weird way that everybody talks and the weird like pauses that happen combined with the art, like it's almost like a horror game on purpose.
Yeah, and we said last week we were going to figure out who worked on this game, and it looks here like David Lynch was the scenario writer.
That's funny. And you know what else is weird about the plot? It's very heavy at the beginning, and then just kind of, then you have your goal, right, of just go find your sister. But the plot is broken up between a completely skippable cutscene at the beginning before you get to the main menu, and then, like, as soon as you press start to play, it, like, resumes where it left off in the skippable part. So it's like, if this was all important, why did you just put the whole cutscene behind?
Well, isn't the skippable part just saying like, there are events in town, and one of which is a circus, and I mean, again, like that, you don't really need that info.
No, but you know what? Actually, Sean, you do need that info. You're right. You bring up a good, compelling point that I don't think you meant to bring up, but I'm going to reward you anyway.
Actually, he was saying the opposite.
The introduction...
And you're rewarding me.
The introduction makes it seem... I guess why they split it up was because the introduction makes it seem like it's going to be a fun, grand time where you play a video game of you and your sister doing, like, different carnival rides or, you know, alley games and stuff, midway stuff. But instead... Then you press start, and a mysterious clown, like, tricks you into only your sister getting inside. Then Mr. Magic shows up and reveals that he has your sister now. Not like, I have kidnapped her, here's the ransom, just, I have your sister now. Like, give up on
like,
this.
What does he want?
Right.
Like, he's not saying, like, and if you don't give me money, you know,
I
it's
think
just like,
it's
just
the
so you know.
implication is known.
I don't think that's what they were going for. Would be my guess.
Anyway,
yeah, so you get into the game. You get into the game, obviously circus-themed levels.
Are they, though? Everything's just scaffolding.
Yeah, but you're, like, clearly inside the tent.
Sure.
Right? It's a big tent. It's a big circus.
It's a big tent circus.
Yeah. And the first level... In the manual, it just says, Clown's Assault, Upside Down Clowns, Winged Clown, Others attack Tim. I guess you're Tim. The latter half of the scene is an air battle with flying human rockets and shells. It's like, they're doing my work here for me. They're literally just laying out what the entire level, including the boss, is, and then gives names to all the enemies, and then also, like, legal names in case they need to be identified by the police, which is, like, really funny. It's like, Upside Down Clown, whose name is Chap. Bass Clown, who is Angel Fat. A Human Rocket, who is Captain Joe. And it's like, those are all still could be aliases. Chap, Angel Fat, Captain Joe. But then you get to the tightrope artist, and that's just Julius. The monkey's name is Leonard, in case anybody cared. And the trapeze artist is Lino. Why do they give the names?
I don't know
why do they give the legal names?
I didn't read the manual, as has been like a theme recently.
Yeah, I also didn't.
But I mean, a lot of these, the first boss, like you described the first boss. That's a clown. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Is it though? Or is it a monstrosity?
Both, maybe?
I mean, yes, absolutely.
Like everyone, like, you know, they're humanoids. You're kind of just running into, maybe they have jetpacks, maybe they're monkeys, maybe they're trapeze artists. But you're fighting people until you run into this circular demon clown.
Right, which it just looks like a bag of the clown's tricks came alive I don't like it at all. I assume Mr. Magic's behind it. But
well, it looks like it is like I think it like his bag of tricks.
Okay.
Now that that just dawned on me as watching.
But the boss was the moment for me where I kind of realized that, like, oh, this might be, like, working off of Castlevania 1 energy. Like, something about just the entire layout of the fight, and then looking at the UI as well. I was like, it kind of, like, looks like Castlevania, and I'm using whatever projectiles the game chooses to give me at any given moment, like hammers or soccer balls or giant blocks, which we'll talk about in a minute. All these things... throughout, and actually, now that I look at, I think it is a bag of tricks. That's really cool, actually. Sean, that's not a monstrosity.
It's a
monstrosity that it's alive. It shouldn't be alive.
Abomination.
But it's a creative boss.
Is it, though?
Maybe by, like, the physical
art concept.
Design.
I guess if you're fighting a bag of tricks, I guess that's creative. But it's just a circle boy.
Because each of the bosses, except for one that I fought, were, like, all looked different and had different patterns, but also they were all sort of like you keep them at bay by just like hitting them rapidly with with your punch or with one of your power-ups, and like they just can't move at you quick enough. It was like one of the things where you feel like you're breaking the game and not actually fighting the boss the way it was intended, but I don't know how else to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you jumped right ahead to the boss of the first level, but did anyone else have trouble getting over the crocodiles that are 1 second into the game?
I had trouble with this game from the moment it started. I'd say that, the crocodiles, first, it doesn't look like you should touch them at all. Then it turns out they turn into platforms if you wait for their mouth to close, which I guess is fine. But every other enemy in this game... it does that thing that we thought we were kind of done with very early on in the NES, where it's like, oh, this is just going to keep respawning forever. Like, everybody just respawns forever, and it turns into a complete morass of enemies jumping up and down in weird timings, and you're probably going to get hit, and your health... I don't think you really get any iframes, so it just keeps going down. It's one of those games.
Yeah, that's very, very frustrating. And there's a lot of other situations, not just the crocodiles, where like you know what you're supposed to do, but there's like literally like a rapid fire stream of like clown boys coming at you, and there's nothing you can do but get hit. Like you have to have health. The crocodile thing, that wasn't my biggest complaint about the crocodile moment. My biggest complaint, once I learned that you can jump on them, because it was kind of annoying that I just had to guess that, even though everything I had learned about this game so far made me think I shouldn't jump on them. Once I learned I could jump on them, the timing seems kind of random, or at least not uniform for when they open up their mouths and close their mouths. So like so many times I'm just in the air, like, okay, they're about to close the mouth. I try to time it right, and it closes the mouth, and I'm in the air, and just before I land, they open their mouth, and I die. Like, that happened a lot to me. So getting past those crocodiles was a relief.
Which is a game over.
It's an automatic game over, and it's the revelation, too, of, like, it took me a minute to figure out, like, oh, their mouths close. Like, I should have noticed that, to Sean's point, that's actually kind of clever level design, but it's not communicated well enough. Like, I feel like I would have thought, like, oh, I should try to, like, get onto the side of the stage somehow, or climb the ladder that led to the high dive. I
actually think that the only little piece of game design that was communicated well was that what was the whole crocodile thing, because you can't clear that jump any other way.
Right. I'm just saying it took me a moment to realize that, like, that's what I actually have to stand on those. Like, I just didn't think the game would let me do that.
Right. And my first, I actually, before trying to jump on the crocodiles, I thought, okay, I must be able to swim in this game. So I just jumped in the water. Like, there's no way I'm hitting one of those crocodiles. Like,
damn.
If I know anything about crocodiles, it's don't jump on them.
True.
But, there are plenty of other games and stuff where you see someone jump on like the top of the mouth, the jaw of a crocodile. It's just this sprite work took me a little longer to figure that out.
Items you might find at a circus. A hammer. Yay or nay?
Absolutely.
I guess like there's somewhere like behind the tent.
Hammer throws. Not hammer
Yeah.
throws. Hammer jugglers.
Someone's hammering down to hold up the tent, right? Those little nails all around.
Yeah, the stakes.
Yeah, the stakes.
Bricks.
Yeah, bricks. Will you find bricks anywhere at a circus?
Small brick walls that you can place in the air and
Great.
jump on.
Yep. Okay.
They
Soccer
did that at
balls.
Ringling Brothers. Oh yeah. I think that before we had the Olympics, soccer was only played at circuses.
Makes sense.
I can imagine like there's like a lion with like a soccer ball on its nose, or like a sea lion instead of like a beach ball, a soccer ball on it.
No, it's a beach ball.
A sea lion, a beach ball, a soccer ball.
What is a sea lion doing at a circus?
A sea lion? That's a big thing in
No,
a circus. It's huge.
It's
It's
a
the biggest
lion.
thing
You're
at the
thinking of
circus.
a
No, there's a
land
lion, but they also have like, what about the sea lion
That's
thing with
SeaWorld.
the soccer ball?
That's like
on it?
that's
No.
like SeaWorld. Yeah, that's
It's
like
not a circus. It's not an aqua circus.
No.
Aqua Circus is not the big circus, Joe.
Google it.
The big circus.
I'm googling it.
Okay, a yo-yo.
Is
That
that,
just
a
feels like-
yo-yo?
That's what they say it is, at least in the manual. It does spin around you, so I guess it's a really big yo-yo. It's like the size of Tim, but I buy it. Okay, so it's a yo-yo, and maybe that's just something that he had on him, and then like you know how in Resident Evil 2, Sean,
Yeah.
sometimes you have the knife, and then you can lodge that into enemies, but then it like gets stuck in them, and you have to pull it out.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's happening with the yo-yo. Is like after a certain amount of time, like Tim gets it stuck in an
It gets
enemy. and then it
tangled.
gets tangled, right? And then like that's how he gets another one later. Like you can only have so many yo-yos on hand.
I buy it.
Last item, most obvious for a circus, a bomb.
I haven't been listening. I've been frantically scrolling through hundreds of images of sea lions with beach balls on their nose at circuses.
At circuses.
At circuses.
If you're 8 years old and your sister was just kidnapped, I think it's fair game to use a bomb on all your enemies.
I don't remember a bomb.
I didn't get the bomb either, but that's probably just a testament to how little I played.
Yeah, let me explain what happened with this game. So, I dealt with it. You know, I was able to trudge my way through this game. Only defeating bosses by using a turbo button. And then level 3, you know, this one is sort of like spooky. There's like spiders and stuff, and there's these enemies that you can't hit with a punch. So you just kind of have to jump around them or die. But then I got to the right side of the level, and then it wouldn't let me progress. And then I gave up. So I got, like, I didn't get to the third boss, but I'm pretty sure I got to right before the third boss. I don't know if it was a bug, or if, like, there's just something else that you have to do.
Yeah, there is something you have to do that you would never, ever know
What do you have
without
to
looking
do?
it up. You have to, like, build a brick wall and jump up into the right corner. And there's no, like, space. They're like, oh, yeah, there's a door up there or anything. You just jump into the right
What?
corner, and it's like, you've progressed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I just watched a video of someone do it, and that's how you get to the next boss. But you missed I didn't get much further past level 4, but I did beat the third boss, and you missed what at least to as far as I've played, the most unique boss in the game.
Is it a sea
The
lion?
lion
with
tamer.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't a sea lion, it was a tiger.
Oh.
With a white tiger, and you do not fight him, you play a game with him, in which you sit across from him, and there's a plate between you, and on the plate, rapidly, either a piece of meat appears, or just a bone appears. And as soon as the moment the meat appears, you have to press A to grab it before the tiger grabs it. But if you grab a bone, you lose a point. And whoever has more points after 60 seconds wins the boss battle.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, this game's cursed.
I thought this was the most fun boss battle of the ones that I played, because I didn't have to just spam A, you know?
Oh, I'm seeing it now. He's describing the rules. He calls it a
Yeah.
teriyaki battle, as one
Right.
does.
Joe, since you seem to have gotten the furthest, allegedly Godzilla's in this game. Any truth to that?
I did not get much further than the moment I just described.
So that's something I learned. Some games I find so confusing and just like outside of the realm, beyond the pale, if you will, that I just have to see like who reviewed this, what were their thoughts, and the one review that I found was like he doesn't just review NES games like all these other guys do. He just does like Godzilla stuff because apparently this game is made by Toho.
Yes.
Which I just didn't know they made games, and it's a complete out of context thing. He just sort of shows up. It asked how many times can Godzilla do it, and there's like a mini game where like I think he just does jumping jacks. I don't know, but Godzilla exists as a mini game.
Godzilla, and apparently also that like bird thing that you shoot. Apparently that's Rodan. So it's like a whole. I don't know how true that is. That doesn't look too, like size wise even. That doesn't look like a Rodan, but that's kind of funny. So there's just, I guess, because Toho made the game, there's some kaiju stuff in it. I understood the assignment of the other bonus levels where it's like you and a bear jumping over some flames or yeah, just totally normal stuff. Also, I don't know about you guys, but since that's the very first minigame you get with the bear and the flames, did anyone else think it was like jump rope and you couldn't move?
Oh, I didn't actually get this minigame. I didn't know that the first thing you could do was enter a minigame, so I kept walking forward. The first minigame and only minigame I got was the jalopy.
Right, which
that was cool.
Where is that going on? Like, is that inside the circus? Is that all happening inside the big circus?
Big circuit, yeah.
That's why it's so big. That's why it has to be so big.
They have miles and miles of track surrounding the circus.
Yeah, I mean, if Godzilla's just hanging out at the circus, it is a pretty big circus. But the mini games actually are a nice touch here. Okay, they do help break up the gameplay of otherwise barrage of enemies always attacking you. You're always in danger. You can die at any second. And then the mini games are just like fun. Nothing's locked behind them, just for points. I'm glad they exist. I'm glad at the absurdity of them. I wish they would have tapped more into the circus thing and less about like drive a car and avoid boulders. But
yeah, like what are games you play at like a circus or carnival or something?
Yeah, like fill up that thing so that fill up that thing with water so that the balloon pops above its head.
Right.
What's that game?
But
called?
I did enjoy the one the jump over the fire one. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, once I figured out you can move,
unique.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I like that there's like a specific sprite for when your bear catches fire and dies horribly. It fits.
There's a very specific sprite for like your character bending like Neo from the Matrix. What's that about?
It is the coolest and stupidest duck that there's been ever.
I don't think it actually makes you lower.
Yeah, it does. Well, like I don't know if it literally does, but things on a certain level will not hit you when you do that.
Okay. Just more things that make this game just kind of ominous.
Yeah.
And the game doesn't really even want you to play the entire experience. I don't know if you guys saw this, but basically for any speedrunning strategies, this is not a glitch. This is intended. You can just defeat enemies until you get a block power-up. Use that block power-up to go back to the beginning of the stage. Theoretically, you got one from an enemy right at the beginning of the stage anyway. And drop a block and jump over the curtain to then skip ahead through the whole level and go right to the boss of said stage. Why? And you can skip every single level that way.
I don't like that.
Just peeking behind the curtain.
I mean, I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. Because, presumably, unless this is in the manual or something, that's a secret that people wouldn't figure out for a long time. And then if you figure it out by word of mouth, it's like the cheat code. It's a cheat code to just face the bosses. But you got to do a little something extra rather than just punching a code.
I guess. I think, like, if it's something that if somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing can accidentally do immediately, I don't know how secret it is, but
it does require some thought, I guess I would say, just
suppose.
because the it's not like put a block and then this thing that looks like you can enter it, you enter. Instead, it is put a block here and jump over, basically like Super Mario Brothers 1 style, like jump over that part of the underground level so that you can get to the warp zone.
You're right.
Basically
I guess
the same thing.
If it's just a warp zone, basically, then I guess it's fine.
But Circus Caper, the long play is at least 30 minutes long. For anybody who actually plays the game, it's going to be a bit longer than that because you're going to die a lot. The speed run is just 7 minutes, for perspective of just how fast it can be beaten when you just take the block and jump and skip the entire level portion and just fight the bosses.
Damn. Oh, what are the keys for?
The
Do we know?
keys,
I think they just
yeah.
let you to the next level, right?
Is that it?
I believe so. And doesn't it? Yeah. And so basically, like, if you have 4 keys, you beat 4 levels. Like, you just get
So
the
it's
key
just
at the
a
end
counter.
of...
It just shows that, like, oh, you're this far in the game.
Right. You never use those keys. It would be cool if at the end, like, you know, to face Mr. Magic, you had to go behind the other 5 doors and, you know, you had to open them up with the keys or whatever, but that's not what they did.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like scrub to the end and make sure they're not used, but I don't think they are.
No, in the manual it just says they're referred to show you how your progress. But
gotcha.
But again, the key is just like that's a Castlevania thing as well, right? Like after you beat the boss and you get the was it a heart, right? Big heart? No, that's like Zelda. Well, Zelda sometimes it depends what you get, but in most ones now when you beat the boss, you get a big heart that gives you an extra heart on your HP. I'm trying to think of what they give you at the end of Castlevania. Each boss, you get something. Oh, it's an orb. It's an orb. There we go. Don't write in. Don't email. I do play the games. I know what I'm talking about.
I remember the orb.
Yeah, you remember the orb, Sean.
I ponder
and at the
my
end,
orb.
you have to hand all the orbs over to Dracula so that you have permission to fight him. That's what the orbs are for, and that's what the keys are for in Circus Caper. I think it's time. You know, we're 28 minutes into the show, or give or take. I think it's time
to stop talking about Circus Caper.
Yeah, and reveal that it was actually an entirely different game in Japan, also made by Toho, based on an anime. It looks like it's called Moru Onisan, and in that game, the protagonist's maybe sister, girlfriend, I don't know, I didn't look into it enough. This girl is kidnapped by Dragon, who is a dragon. Very clever. And it's not circus themed at all. The game is really different. It's pretty crazy
So
the lengths they went to.
Too.
Everything, yeah. Bosses, you name it. Like, it is pretty interesting that they just said, well, nobody know. Like, we spent so much time making this game based on our anime in Japan, but nobody's going to play this on the NES in America, which is selling so well. Why don't we reskin it as a circus game? Because Americans love their big circuses.
It's funny because now that you mention it, like the game, even though we mentioned that like the gameplay doesn't really reflect circuses, the backgrounds and stuff, there's a lot of circus imagery, and almost now it's like almost comically so much circus imagery like that they were like worried it wasn't going to come across as a circus. Because in the first level, there's literally stands full of clowns, like clowns watching in the audience, that are sitting.
Terrifying.
But do you see the way they're sitting? They're sitting in shapes, like in formation, so they spell out circus in giant letters.
Oh,
just
I
in
didn't
case.
notice that.
Just in case, like
That's
really
funny.
trying to drive home, like this is a circus.
Yeah, but I couldn't tell you enough. Like, it's a completely different game.
Is Godzilla still in it?
Now that's a good question, and unfortunately, nobody reviewed this game to the point where we would have an answer for you. Like I wasn't
fine.
able to play it.
Yeah, it's okay.
But in this game, you can swim. Can't
It's not
swim in
just an
Circus
auto-death?
Caper. Yeah, you can. No, like there are swimming levels. Like it's more like Super Mario Brothers than it is its own port Circus Caper. It's like, I'm telling you, they're different games. It's kind of wild.
It's pretty weird.
The anime translates to The Burning Wild Man. Never seen that one. The Burning Wild Man. It was a shonen manga from 87 to 91. So there you go.
Fun.
Random fact. Circus Caper, though, to get back onto topic, no sequels and spin-offs other than the fact that there's a whole nother game, which is weird. But Circus Caper is a game that we now have to get to that point in the show where we always get to. You guessed it. That's right. It's the Essential Games List. I've done it more eloquently in the past, but this is the future now, and I plan on doing every episode just as clumsy as that. I plan on delivering all future Essential Games List introductions just as poorly as I'm reviewing this game. No, Circus Caper's not terrible. It's just not... It wasn't enjoyable for what it was. I didn't feel like I was having a good time at the circus, mostly because I was at some kind of haunted circus where they do God knows what to your sister. We save her at the end by defeating Mr. Magic, but really, at what cost? Like, what happened already? Like, while we were in there, some really fucked up shit happened. I'm sure, because a lot of fucked up shit happened to Tim too. Like, at this circus, the things he saw and the things his sister saw. Well, I don't think they'll be rolling the dice with any mysterious clowns going forward. And you can count me in on that as well. I will not be rolling the dice with this game any longer. I got as far as I was able to tolerate, mostly because it's hard. It was hard for me, at least. But also, I don't know, other than the minigames, I wasn't really enjoying the side-scrolling action they laid out here because of how often you get hit and things just pop out. I think it's the popping out we didn't talk about enough. Things just pop out. They don't
Oh, yeah.
They don't spawn and then you fight them. It's like they just pop out and they surprise you. It's a lot of people going boo.
Yeah.
That's what's happening in this game a lot. So no, not for me. Sean, what about you?
Yeah, I don't like this game. The mood and the tone it's very disconcerting. I like that, and I think that's really between. Okay, so I think this is just something about circus themed games, because I've owned another circus themed game for the Super NES, and it was like Mickey and Minnie's Circus Adventure, and it's actually, I'd say it's a good game, but it still kind of gave me nightmares. And I'm not somebody that's afraid of clowns. I think that's kind of dumb, but I think if a game is circus themed, it can't help but just feel off. And this game feels off. And that's not even just to say that the game is creepy. I think that the game actually, in terms of game feels off. The jump feels wrong. It changes from level to level. The way that you just exit stages is random. The enemies, like Mike said, just sort of pop out of nowhere. Your punch sucks. And sometimes you have to kick, and your kicks suck. The game does not feel good to play. Between the vibes, which are all off, and the feel, which is all off, I cannot recommend this game. It is bad. Avoid it at all costs.
Joe, what's the vibe check?
The vibe, I think Sean described the vibe check pretty well, at least as far as the theme and the atmosphere of this game. It's a little weird. But overall, the main gameplay, the bosses, none of it is anything to write home about. Definitely not a particularly fun platformer. I did like the mini games. I actually thought that they were, as far as mini games go in this type of game, they were pretty interesting. I mean, the car one was cool just because it was surprising to see the car thing. I mean, really, if I'm looking at it objectively, it's not a great even car racer, but it was fun to have that breaking it up. I liked the jumping over the fire because it was just a unique little game because you're controlling two people, but still avoiding all these obstacles. And then there was another one where you're shooting things out of the sky, things like that. The grabbing the Teriyaki was kind of cool. Those were like the highlights of this game for me, but they were small blips in what was otherwise, just another fade into the background, tedious platformer that didn't really have a ton of amazing game design. So I'm going to say definitely not essential.
Definitely at the end. I like that.
Definitely.
I like that. Definitely. Yeah, okay. Next week, we might have better luck. We're playing a game called Crystallis, which a lot of people have hyped up. How do they hype us up about this stuff? Well, they write into the show. They can write in. You can do that by going to our website, nostalgicast.com, clicking that contact button and writing up a little form. Feel free to tell us good and bad things, but if you're going to say a bunch of bad things, you might as well say one good thing. I mean, you're listening to the podcast. If you're writing in, you'll listen. So you kind of outed yourself. You're technically a fan. And then if you want to talk to us even more, you can talk to us on the Discord for, get this, $1 a month. That's it. I don't know if that sounded expensive. I'm sorry if it did. It's actually really cheap. It's really cheap.
Can you believe that we're charging $1 a month for the Discord?
It's not just the Discord. It's not just the Discord. It goes actually to make it this way. The website's always up and running too, which is nice.
Yeah, we have to keep putting money in the toll thing by the side of the road.
GoDaddy. Yeah, GoDaddy requires money.
Need more quarters for that.
It's all GoDaddy until it becomes Stop Daddy.
Whoa.
Joe, you sounded like you were going to say something?
I was going to say that you get more than the Discord.
Oh, thank goodness. I thought you were going to say actually that you get less.
Actually, yeah, you don't get any of that. We just take your dollar.
Yeah, that's actually the $2 tier is actually just
dumb.
The $2 tier is the same as the $1, except for we take the other dollar.
Right.
But then we have a $5 tier, which is great because that one actually does give you access to a whole nother podcast, where we play the Famicom game. So I don't think we're going to play the Japanese version of Circus Caper on that show, but we might if you tell us to. That's another cool perk. You can tell us what to do on the Discord.
We have to do it.
Within reason. No. Yeah, we have to do it. I like that. We have to.
Make demands.